today's video, we're looking into a scenario in which Japan forms an empire. Because Japan hasn't formed an empire since, I think, the beginning of 2023. They need an empire. They're hungry for an empire video. They're the hungry for empire video. As they decide to invade the Philippines, toppling the country and putting a Japan first policy. Expansionist Japan policy. As they start moving down into the Philippines, they take a bunch of the islands, including the capital of Manila, which is right here. And they move more south. And they decide time to annex the country. Because why not? Who doesn't like annexing countries, they figure. As they decide to next go towards Malaysia, along with their friend Brunei. I don't even know if they're friends. I'm just saying that because why not? When Japan's forces moving into Malaysia, and I guess Singapore can be independent, I guess, because they're so small. Why would you even want to annex just a city? I mean, it is probably money. City-states are rich. They only care about money. The smaller the country, the more the people like money. Oh wait, people always like money. That's just humanity. Well, let's see what they invade next. Okay, they decide to go after Vietnam. Why not? Because Vietnam is a good country to invade. Because, well, historically speaking, it's almost impossible to invade. The Mongols couldn't do it. China couldn't do it. America couldn't do it. So I guess they can do it. Makes sense, right? As they take over it. And America decides to block all oil. No, I'm kidding. They're not expanding into the U.S. Well, they could, but why would I expand them into the U.S.? Now, after gathering strength, training its military, it decides to do Operation You're My Enemy Again. Yes, Operation You're My Enemy Again. Japan just made a new enemy. And, well, they swiftly move in on multiple fronts. And, well, that's the fall of South Korea. With them deciding, with Japan deciding to invade Indonesia for all they're worth. Yeah, they want their GDP. We're invading you for all of your worth. Give us all of your money in 2 islands or we'll invade. And plus, it will barely take any of your population. They all live in Java anyways. So what's the big deal with taking Jakarta? Says Japan. And Borneo, is that what the island's called? And Indonesia's like, no, they ain't having any of this. So Japan says, fine, we'll invade you then. And we don't care. Invasions are okay. Especially when they're justified. We justify this war because you tried to sink our ship in Tokyo. Oh wait, that's an American excuse. The Spanish sunk an American ship. Then the Germans, but the Japanese couldn't learn a lesson. Don't sink an American ship. Seems to be the case. Americans care more about their ship than most things. And that's just it. Don't try to get rid of the U.S. trading dominance or the U.S. air dominance. They don't like that either. So that's why Canada should build the biggest navy, the biggest army, and the biggest everything in the world. And well, at this point, a peace treaty is decided to be signed, with Japan just annexing what it occupied and said, I'll let you live if you don't try to invade me again, to get revenge, to plot your revenge against me. Well, they agree, but do you really think they're trustable? Maybe in 10 years they'll build up their military, they'll invade the Japanese Empire with the help of the US. Probably not the best. Let's hope Japan doesn't decide to act on this empire video, or, well, at least nobody's ever acted on anything I said in my videos. Although, when you look at Ukraine's invasion of Russia and compare it to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, you can see why Russia isn't, like, panicking. Or Russia's just... And well, they go to war with all of Southeast Asia. They're prepping to invade, well, Russia. So they're, like, prepare the troops. Oh, oops. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, wait, that's India. I hope they don't. Now, let's invade them, says Japan. With Southeast Asia being unsuspecting. With Japan's invasion force being Huge. They do resist a bit, but their resistance isn't yielding much, besides slowing the front. With them offering peace to Myanmar, so Myanmar accepts it. So let's see the peace treaty. Like, are they done expanding? Nope. Because once you start expanding, you become greedy. And once you become greedy, you want more land. Well, they also want to take Sakhalin back. Because somebody named Stalin decided to steal it. So they're mad, even though Stalin is like dead since 50-something. 50-something, yeah. Who even knew that? But maybe it's also because they also... But then again, they probably want to make the second another Russo-Japanese war. That completely embarrasses Russia. Although it's hard to embarrass Russia when you have a better economy than them. Pretty much, Russia's economy is the same as Canada, just by having triple the population. So they have taken the island they want, and now they're moving into Siberia. And they decide to land here to take Vladivostok. As Russian troops are shocked by this, caught off guard, Russia orders an immediate counteroffensive. Oh wait, their troops are stuck in Ukraine. No, I'm kidding. Ukraine's situation isn't going on in this video, but it could be. Never know. In this universe, the world is just different. Well, they also have pushed them back. But don't worry. It's Siberia. They're probably all like frozen, half frozen. But that's besides the point. It doesn't matter if you're half frozen. With them cutting off this chunk of Russian territory, meaning a big encirclement. It's not like they can use the water. Well, you're like, yeah, there's a bit of coast. Are you sure about that? And then you say, oh, they could go there. That's ice. Probably. And even then, you probably wouldn't be able to get far enough. As the Russian troops flee to Alaska. And then they're, well, I wonder, would somebody actually flee to Alaska? And all the troops are captured and put in prisons in Japan. Yeah. As they get pushed back, but they're like, Russia, you're not even the hardest task we have so far. And well, at this point, they're like, what's the point in continuing this war? Russia surrenders! Very realistic. Very realistic, Russia surrendering. They didn't surrender ever. That's quick. They don't surrender without a fight. Well, maybe they would. Maybe Russia's like that and they're just secretly hidden that long enough and they'll somehow show it. Because they're mad that Japan took half their territory. They sound like another person. Oh, wait. Yeah. They decide to invade Taiwan, but China says, this is my territory, you can't have it. So, well, they join Taiwan. This sounds so unrealistic. And North Korea just joined. But don't worry, Japan had troops on all fronts, because they knew that China was about to invade. And as they take the capital, Pyongyang, in North Korea, they end up kicking them back. That might not be the right way of saying it. I don't know. It's spelled. I just don't know how to say it. While in the north, Japanese forces are rapidly approaching Beijing. But they get stalled out in the south. But in other areas of this area, they manage to do this. Well, they take this island, and they move from the south up. Everybody's shocked at this movement. With China deciding to launch counteroffensive to hold back Beijing. They don't like the idea of Beijing falling, and they decide to push back Southeast Asia, part of Japan. But don't worry. This front basically pushes back to where it was. But it starts to get worse and worse. With the threat on Beijing only looming growing, as they start advancing towards Beijing with the first Battle of Beijing breaking out, quickly they're launched all the way back to where their front is. But during this time, in Southeast Asia, from Japan, Japan's managed to advance deeper into China. And China's noticed this. it decides to launch a counteroffensive, kicking them back. And while China can keep sending people and people, so Japan needs to act fast. With them deciding to take this area and move in from, and over here they land to move in from. China pushing back these spearheads. As they push them back, somewhat, they also make an offensive in the north, but they one division, 3 divisions accidentally go faster than the rest and get encircled. And quickly, the third battle of Beijing breaks out. With about to call victory with 70-something% of the city captured, Japan gets kicked back outside the city gates. With a spearhead over here being created too. With these 2 spearheads meeting and trying to push back, but they get stuck. China's forces are really successful. As China has this much of an issue, move in and capture Beijing in the 3rd battle of Beijing. Yes, it took 3 battles to take it. That's not the most successful. With China launching a counteroffensive, meeting up these fronts and cutting them apart, they messed up in one aspect. Japan advanced in areas that they weren't thinking would be that vital for them to capture. And, well, the battle of the coastline begins as, well, a big chunk of it falls. With China not having the population advantage of as much now that they lost most of their population to being occupied. Or, well, they don't want to give up. So they launch a counteroffensive again. Now, this being like if Japan managed to actually be successful in this war. If they didn't underestimate their fight. Well, China at this point decides to surrender, seeing, well, it's kind of pointless to fight at this point. So let's see the peace treaty on Japan. And I think we will do a second video wherever I does get revenge on Japan. So stay in tune. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Japan has taken over all of Asia's coast and went south, too, in the Oceania. Well, not really. That's still technically Asia, but it's kind of Oceania. Because Oceania is all, like, islands, 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 islands. Not to be confused with Oceania Ingsoc. Not to be confused with that. Yeah, that sounds like a fun country to live in. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not until you subscribe.